in the country's presidential election. The leader of the Democratic Green Party told reporters that the vote was a good step forward for democracy, following an 8-year struggle to register his party and obtain a spot in the ballot paper. The incumbent President Paul Kagame is tipped to win the election by a landslide after 17 years in power.
It's a very good step forward for democracy in Rwanda because it's the first time an opposition party is allowed to be on the ballot paper. After we've struggled for 8 years, this is a very big step forward. We hope that we build on this foundation to make Rwanda much better.
All right, Abayomi Azikiwe, editor of Pan-African Newswire, joins us now to talk more on the developments in Rwanda. Thank you very much indeed for joining us this time. Well, Paul Kagame, from what we know and understand now, it's set for a landslide victory. He has been able to stabilize the country, and of course, it's one of the countries where corruption is at its lowest ebb. But is this enough to perpetuate himself in office?
Well, the Constitution was revised in 2015, allowing him to run for a third term. And there's speculation that if he wins the election being held today, that he could serve perhaps another term, taking him to 2034. So as far as the opposition forces are concerned, they seem to be very weak. And as you mentioned, the Green Party candidate is the only one that's effectively challenging him during the elections. So in all likelihood, he'll win a third term.
Well, the opposition, like you rightly mentioned, Paul Habineza, is saying that this is a step forward for democracy. And we see that the constitution was amended in 2015 for Paul Kagame to, stay in power till 2034. And he also mentioned that this is mere formality. Now, what are the chances for democracy to thrive in the country, so to speak?
Yeah, there have been complaints from people who have had problems with the government of Paul Kagame, the Rwandan Patriotic Front ruling party. However, they have not been able to mobilize any sufficient opposition to his government. Since 1994, the RPF has been in power in Kigali. They have been able to stabilize the country. At present, it is a tourist attraction in East Africa. They have done a lot to improve the infrastructure of the country, planting palm trees, ensuring that the streets are swept twice a day. And in regard to security inside the country, it is a very, very stable society. So the opposition forces can oppose him on technical grounds, but at the same time, his work clearly is something that has been recognized by the international community, to the extent that the United Nations now has released the cessation clause of the UN regulations, where those who are refugees in other countries are being mandated to return to Rwanda. For example, in Zimbabwe, there are a lot of Rwandans who live there, who have lived there for over 2 decades. And they are now being asked to leave and go back home because it is being declared as a stable political state.
All right, what about his record of human rights abuses, suppression of opposition, and the rest of it? Do you think this might in any way take toll on the election?
It doesn't appear to be the case. In 2015, there were those who opposed the revision of the Constitution. The daughter of one businessman who died under mysterious circumstances attempted to run in the elections, but she was disqualified on technical grounds. They're a very well-off family in Rwanda. So you have elements inside the Rwandan elites who have opposed him, particularly over the last 2 years. But if they're not organized and if they don't have a candidate in this election, then in all likelihood, their concerns will not effectively be addressed.
All right, Abayomi Azikiwe, editor of the Pan-African Newswire, thanks for your time on TVC News Hour.